Good morning. Today is August 28, 2023. I'm Frank Farmer, and we're here today as part of the Veterans History Project. This is a project authorized by Congress and administered by the Library of Congress. The objective is to interview and record the stories of veterans from World War II to the present. The Library of Congress archives these interviews and makes them available to the public, both in person and online. The library also encourages local venues, such as historical societies and museums, like the one we're in today, the New Smyrna Museum of History, to archive these and make them available to the local population. Today we have with us a veteran of the Korean War, a veteran who was seriously, grievously wounded during that war, spent almost 2 years in a hospital recovering, underwent over 17 surgeries, was paralyzed and was told he would never walk again. But he is walking, and he is here today with us to tell us his story. Let's introduce and let's welcome Mr. Phil Hover. Mr. Hover, first of all, sir, let me thank you for your service to this country and for all the suffering and misery that you went through, and to come here today to share your story with us, sir.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it. It's been over 70 years.
Well, I'm sure it brings back a lot of unpleasant memories.
Unpleasant memories, yeah.
Well, first of all, I know today you're living in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. You've lived here for a number of years, but where are you from originally? Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Ridgewood, New Jersey.
You went to high school there?
High school there. I went my senior year, graduated there. All my friends were there. I spent a couple of years in West Palm Beach High School with my mother and my stepfather, but went back to Jersey.
And graduated?
Graduated from Ridgewood, yes.
Now, what year did you graduate from high school?
1948.
Yeah. 2 years before the Korean War.
Right.
Did you have anyone in your family who was in the military?
Yes, I had an uncle that was in World War II. He was a major. Was all over the world. He was in logistics. Smartest man I ever knew. Anyway.
Well, most of the people in logistics are pretty smart.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, but they are.
So that's all. All that I know. I had a cousin that went in the Air Force, which is what I should have done when this thing started. But my father said not to do it.
Well, you graduated from high school in 1948. That was 2 years before the Korean War.
Yeah.
What did you do after high school?
I went to work. I went to work for Standard Oil in New York City for a while.
Right after high school?
Right after high school. And then I went to college. I think I was only there in the summertime. Went to college, went to Oglethorpe College.
Now tell me about Oglethorpe College is in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small liberal arts college.
Right.
What took you down to Oglethorpe College?
Other friends from high school.
Okay. So you had some buddies and friends who were going there, and you decided to go there.
Yeah.
Well, how did you like Oglethorpe?
I didn't like college very much. No.
How long did you stay at Oglethorpe?
Just one semester.
One semester.
And my father, which I guess we'll get into sooner or later. But my father called me and wanted me to come to California.
Now, your parents were divorced at that time.
Yeah, my parents were divorced.
Your mother lived in West Palm Beach. Your father lived
My mother lived in New Jersey.
Okay.
And my father lived in Oregon. But during the war, he worked for Higgins Shipyards, put the engines in the landing crafts and the other boats that they made there.
You know, the people viewing this may not realize the significance of the Higgins landing craft. Can you tell us a little bit about the Higgins landing craft?
Well, they made lots of them, and the funny part of it is that they would test these landing crafts in Lake Pontchartrain. Lake Pontchartrain, as you may not know, is all with steps. The only thing that keeps the water out of New Orleans is the
dikes.
Dikes, yeah. And they would run those suckers up there onto that thing and bust them all up and everything else. But they were a great asset to World War II. That's for sure.
Yeah, they were the landing craft that took the assault troops in on the islands of the Pacific.
That's right.
Took the troops in on D-Day in Normandy. They were small craft. Andrew Higgins, I think his first name was Andrew.
I don't know.
Higgins. His big factory, as you pointed out, was in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And today the World War II Museum is in New Orleans and kind of features the Higgins landing craft.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that. They also made the PT boats.
Oh, the PT boats that John F. Kennedy really on. So, so you said I'm not a college. This is not for me.
Well, my father called me and wanted me. He was given a dealership from General Motors, Marine Engines, and in Northern California, and he wanted me to come and help him get it started. So I was all for that.
Was that in Washington?
Well, no, it was in Monterey, California. That's where we opened up the shop there, and it was called Hover Equipment Company, and we were on the wharf, and that was where I was drafted.
So I was going to ask you a question, how'd you get in the military, but you just answered it.
Yeah.
You were drafted.
I was draft number 1, first draft in the Korean War. And my father, I had a cousin that said, the thing's going to get bad, let's go in the Air Force. I said to my father, I think I should join. He said, no, it's not going to last. You stay here. We're just getting this thing going. So I stayed there, and I got drafted.
And you got drafted, and you got drafted into the United States Army.
Right.
How old were you at that time, sir?
Fort Dix. I was 22.
22, drafted. You were sent to Fort Dix for your basic training?
No. I was drafted to Fort Dix, and we were there like a couple of weeks, and then they sent me to Fort Bliss,
Gordon?
No.
Fort Bennett?
No.
Benning?
No.
Okay.
Where the 82nd Airborne is.
Fort Bragg?
Fort Bragg.
Okay. So
that's right. That's where I trained for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Do you remember much about your basic training?
I remember it was miserable. We ran 5 miles every day because we were the 82nd Airborne, and all they did was keep you in shape, and I was in good shape. So, and from there they sent me to different schools.
What was your? I assume your MOS, your military occupational specialty, was infantry.
I got that after I went to leadership school. After basic training, I went to leadership school and graduated from there, and I was made a corporal. And they asked me to go to OCS. I guess you want to go to this
Officer Candidate School.
Officer Candidate School. So I went to Fort Bliss, Texas, for that. And I was there like the first semester, and they wanted me to sign up for 4 more years.
So
I called my father and I said, "What do you think I should do here? Become a lieutenant, or should we just?" I only got a little over a year to go. He said, "We need you back here." So I said, "I'm out of here." So that's when they sent me to Korea.
So you were given the choice after you went to Officer Candidate School, staying in Officer Candidate School, and having 4 more years of obligation.
Right.
And when you said no, they sent you to Korea.
Just about, yeah.
Okay. And, of course, the Korean War started in June of 1950.
Right.
When did you arrive in Korea?
Well, the tour of duty for Korea was 9 months. And I think I got there around January 1952. Because I was number 3 on rotation to come home when I was wounded, and tour of duty was 9 months. So I was wounded on October 20, 1952.
So you were just about ready to rotate home when you were wounded. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the day you were wounded, do you remember the circumstances of that particular day?
Vaguely, but I remember some of them.
What was your unit? What was your unit assigned to, or what were you supposed to do?
Well, the Korean War, most people don't know that, but the Korean War was not like other wars. The only time you really ran into a lot of combat was when the Chinese would come at us, or you went out on some kind of a patrol, because we were always on the MLR, which is the main line of resistance, and you were rotated off of there periodically. You'd go in reserve, and that's where you'd train with your group, and then they'd bring you back and put you in another place, or they would send you out on patrols, and that's what we did. Patrols were not fun. We did all kinds of things. You go out to listen to see where you could find out where their main artillery was, or main firepower was, or they would come at you and just get into a small firefight. But
now your main opponents were the Chinese. Is that correct?
Yes.
And
well, that's what they told us. You know, we never went in and shook hands with them or anything. So half the time we didn't know who it was, because they didn't speak English, and the only one that spoke English was some woman that was on a radio or a loudspeaker from the other side of the hills, if you were in the hills, and they'd tell you that your girlfriend's waiting for you home and why you're doing here.
They would broadcast these in English
yes.
To the troops?
Yes.
What'd y'all think about that?
Well, not much. You just laugh at them because it was all a lot of baloney. But anyway, that's what the Korean War was like. You know, it's not like you see on TV. Although I will tell you, the other day I was watching some program. Do you want to hear this?
Absolutely.
I was watching some program on Korea, and it was where the Marines landed in Incheon. They had a lot of fighting and a lot of moving up. I guess that's near Seoul, and they were pushing the Chinese back until they got up to where the MLR is, and that's when I got there.
Now,
so I wasn't involved in that kind of a fight where we were fighting in the hills or whatnot, but they were always trying to take the high ground, and we were always trying to take the high ground. That's what you do in Korea, so you can see what's going on.
So you got there when the war first broke out, the North Koreans and the Chinese had pushed all the way down to the southern part, and were just about to push the United States and the United Nations. That was also right out of Korea. And then MacArthur made his landing at Incheon, as you pointed out, which was up and kind of cut off.
Yeah.
So the North Koreans and the Chinese retreated back. But you said you never went north of where the demilitarized zone is today. Is that correct?
Not my division. Never went there. We were always on line, or like I said, we did patrols and things like that. But that was what we did.
Now, Korea is a pretty harsh environmental place. I mean, with
terrible.
temperature and colds. How cold did it get in some of those
Way
places?
below zero. We didn't have a thermometer. All we could do was grab clothes and put them on because it was so cold. The guides would stand guard in all their clothes and in their sleeping bags because it was so cold. But you had, if you were on line, you'd have a guard here and a guard here, and then if anything was going on, they'd wake you up and tell you, "Let's go, guys. We got it coming in." Or you'd hear it coming in. Always something going over you. You know, artillery.
Now, what was your personal weapon in Korea?
Well, on patrol, it was a carbine, because you could run and you didn't have to carry bandoliers all that time and all that.
It was a
stuff.
lighter,
So,
a lighter weapon.
Lighter weapon, but our weapon mainly was M1. And like I told you, a lot of times we get all these old things from World War II. The United States wasn't ready for a war at that time. We didn't get good stuff. They'd send us mops and kitchen stuff when we were online, and it all went into the garbage.
Well, there was a lot of stuff left over from World War II, which I assume that was being used in the Korean War.
Right. All the sea rations, all the helmets. I never even had a what do you call them? A vest or
a protective vest?
Yeah.
Armored vest?
Never had one of them.
They just didn't have enough of them?
Didn't have any. Our whole company that I know of didn't have any. But I was in Fox Company in the 32nd Infantry Division, and we didn't know where the rest of the 7th Division was. We didn't have anything to do with them for my whole time there.
So you just were concerned mainly with your company and your squad and
staying alive.
And staying alive.
That's it.
In freezing weather.
In freezing weather and hot in the summer.
Now, you mentioned sea rations. Is that your main meals?
When you were online, it was. But when you were in the rear, we had the division had their own cooks.
So you get a hot meal?
So we get a hot meal and get a hot meal and all that kind of stuff. And I also, they sent every guy over to Japan for R&R.
Really?
And they do that usually like 3 months, 4 months after you've been there for a while. And you're there for a weekend, and then they fly you back.
So you went to Japan while you were in Korea then?
That's right, yeah.
You remember much about Japan?
No.
No?
Other than the food was terrible. It was crowded. And we went to a lot of shows and stuff like that.
Well, I assume that a lot of the food was from seafood. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Sushi or
that kind of stuff.
Things like that. Yeah. So you didn't like that food?
No, I didn't. No.
But
and you bought a lot of clothes from Japan and sent it home and stuff like that.
Okay, so you at least had a little break from your combat.
Yep.
You know, speaking about sea rations, do you remember the sea rations that you liked the best? Or
yes, I do.
You do.
It was beans and franks, and they also gave you 3 cigarettes in the thing. And at that time, I guess everybody was smoking. So.
Well, that's true. The military used to give free cigarettes away. That was part of the morale,
right.
supposedly from the United States military. So
we also got beer every week or so. You get 2 cans of beer, 3.2 or whatever it is.
Were you a beer drinker?
Yeah, I was then. Didn't drink anything. Yeah.
Now, do you remember the date that you were wounded, Mr. Hubbard?
I do. It was October 20th, 1952.
And you were a few weeks short of coming home at that time, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember the action what action had occurred or what was going on at that time?
It was mostly, it was all at nighttime. And we were on a hill. I don't know what division, what company or anything else was up on the hill to begin with, but most of them were killed. The Chinese were after the high spot, and they came after us to get up there on the hill and help them. And we went up on the hill, and I wasn't there more than a couple of hours, I guess, and I ran out of ammo and turned around to come back up on here. We were on a finger, and lots of mortars and lots of flares and lots of noise. And I was coming back up to the hill, and I was wounded. And I couldn't walk. And somebody came down. I hollered and said, "I can't walk." And somebody heard me, and they came down and dragged me up to the top. And that's when they started feeding me morphine. And
Do you have a medic with you at that time?
the medic was up on top of the hill, yeah. And put me on a stretcher and carried me down the hill. And I went to MASH, and they kept feeding me. The only thing I remember is doctors came and looked at us, and I guess they made a decision. I was pretty much out of it, but they made a decision as to who was going to make it and who wasn't. I guess I was one of those that was going to make it. And they put me on a helicopter, took me down somewhere, and put me on an airplane. I guess they took me to an airfield somewhere and put me on an airplane, and took me to Tokyo and put me in a Tokyo General Hospital, and that's where they.
So that's when your real long odyssey began. So the day you were wounded, I think you've told me in our previous conversations that you had 5 machine gun bullets in you. Is that correct?
They told me that I didn't know that at the time. You don't feel it. I mean, I don't remember too much about it, but until they gave me the morphine. But yeah, they told me at the hospital that it was 5 machine gun bullets, 2 of them through my side and 5 of them through my spine. And when I woke up, I had an incision that was about a foot long, and lots of clamps and lots of hoses in me, and hoses up my nose and hoses in my bladder and everywhere, and I couldn't walk. They just kept me pretty much shot up for the pain.
So when did you start getting some of your memory back? Was that in Tokyo when you were in Tokyo?
General, yeah.
And you'd already undergone some surgeries at that time.
Yeah, they gave me a colostomy and like I said, put all these hoses in me to patch up my insides. And I think I told you that's when I couldn't walk and I couldn't pee. So they put me on a striker. It's like a...
It's a bed that rotates.
It's a bed that rotates because they needed me to be on my stomach sometimes because I couldn't be on my stomach in a bed. I couldn't roll over. And they left me there for too long. And I came down with spinal meningitis from where the wounds were on my spine, went into my spine.
Was this still in the Tokyo General Hospital? Mm-hmm. Do you remember how long you were in the Tokyo General Hospital?
Until they kept taking spinal fluid from me until they could make sure that I could leave. And I guess it was maybe close to a month. So
during that period of time, you were paralyzed. You'd come down with, you'd contract spinal meningitis, and I assume that they were giving you massive doses of antibiotics that unfortunately has a lot of potential side effects with them, and people, you feel miserable from the spinal meningitis, but I'm sure you feel miserable from the medicines also. In the hospital, obviously, there were a lot of wounded Korean War veterans, correct? Yes. Some were really bad. Some of them would cry for their mom. That was the saddest part. It used to bother me because I know that they were really in bad shape. But they kept me pretty well sedated all the time. But you must have still been in a lot of pain during all that period of time. I still am. From those. Oh my gosh! So. I've gone through 70 years of pain.
with my injuries.
So do you remember how long you were in the Tokyo General Hospital before they transported you back to the States?
Probably, I would say about a month. But when you're like that, you really don't know.
Can't remember.
But when I was in the Tokyo General Hospital, like I said, where General Clark came in and gave me my Purple Heart.
General Matthew Clark, correct?
Mark Clark.
Mark Clark.
Yeah,
I came in and of course gave you the Purple Heart, a medal of decoration is given to people who are wounded.
Right.
You received that, and I see you have the lapel pin of the Purple Heart. Is that correct?
I wear that all the time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
I wear a jacket.
Well, that's obviously you've earned that. So they now were your parents when were they notified that you had been?
Oh, they were notified immediately. My mother got a telegram from the government telling her I was wounded and telling them where I was going, and they kept in touch with my mom and my father. When I was coming back to the States, they landed in Fort Lewis, Washington, and my father came to the hospital from Monterey and saw me there for a couple of days, and then they flew us to Washington, D.C. and took me into Walter Reed. And my mother was living in New Jersey at the time, and she worked in New York City. Every weekend would come down to Walter Reed and visit me, and I was still in bed most of the time, almost all the time, or in a wheelchair, and till they discharged me.
Now, how long did it take you before you started to walk again?
Oh, that was probably a month and a half, 2 months before they let me go, and they just told me they closed me up 3 times. I had three colostomies, so I had all those surgeries to heal me up. I never knew when you were going to get another one, and like I said, I had a catheter for over 7 months because I had lost all my feeling down there from the wounds, and I still don't have much feeling.
So you were in Walter Reed for, you said, 7 months?
No, I was there for a month. I was there for 13 months. I was in Tokyo General for a month, and I was in Walter Reed for about 13 months. I was kept in the military. I was supposed to be discharged on January of 1993, but they kept me until the following year.
53.
53.
Right.
No. I was discharged in 53. And
when you say you were discharged, during that time you were in the hospital, all those months, and you had, I think you told me, 17 different surgeries?
Yeah, total of 17.
17 during that period of time. And they came to you one day and said you're being discharged. Is that correct?
Right. My stomach was starting to heal up, and where they had closed up the colostomies and they got me going again, that's when they told me you were going home.
Well,
call your parents and come and get you.
Did they make arrangements for you to be followed up in a VA hospital or for aftercare? Or?
No.
They did not?
No. They did not. They let me go home. I went to New Jersey with my grandparents, and it was cold there, so we have a friend that lived in West Palm Beach where I went to school for a couple of years, and she invited my mother and me down there for kind of rehab. I was there for a couple of months, then went back to Jersey, and I think you asked me about my girlfriend. I had a high school friend that used to come down once in a while with my mother to visit me. And when I got out, after I got out, we got married.
In New Jersey?
In New Jersey.
Okay.
And then moved back to Monterey.
Okay. But again, the military had not made any arrangements for a follow-up in the VA hospital? Or
no, sir.
Like, were you on, I assume you were still on a number of medicines?
Oh, yeah.
Pain medicines,
Yes.
Those things?
Yeah.
You did not have a follow-up for physical therapy? You had been paralyzed and had finally gotten back the ability to walk.
Right.
But when you got out, they had not arranged any of that
No, sir.
follow-up?
When I went back to California with my new wife, I went to I was buying all my own dressings and stuff.
Dressings
My
and
stomach was
gauzes?
still over- yeah. And the guy told me, you should go to the DAV here. And I did. And they sent me up to San Francisco to the VA.
Okay.
And that's where I started getting help. And they gave me a retirement amount. They told me I was 80% disabled, so
Not 100%.
No,
Just 80%.
just 80%. And
So at that point, the
kept
VA, you did start getting care from the VA.
yeah, I started getting whatever I needed from them, but I didn't get any. Never had any therapy of any kind other than just go home, and I did. I mean, I did my own therapy and my own.
Well, when did you? I know, and you've told me this before. You now you're in the VA system, and you have
the VA,
follow up with the VA. So you did get into the system at some point and started getting follow up care. Is that correct?
Oh yes. After being in Monterey for almost a year, we decided to move out of Monterey. I wasn't getting along with my mother and my stepmother, so my new wife and I decided to move somewhere else. We moved to Fort Lauderdale. And when I got to Fort Lauderdale, I went right to the VA, and boy, they just took a hold of me. I had therapy, physical therapy, mental health, and I was in all kinds of therapy.
So they, at this point, now this was, how long was this after you got out of the hospital? A year or so after?
Well, maybe 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, you now are getting all the follow-up therapy, your
Right.
physical therapy, your medicines, etc. in the VA.
Right.
And you've remained in the VA care ever since that, I assume. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
They've taken great care of me. I love them.
Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
That's
When I didn't know any different at the time. I didn't know there was, and I don't. Like I said before, I don't think the country was ready for a war. They didn't know what to do with us. There was nobody, like you said, following up on me. No.
Well, the country had just 5 years before that come out of World War II.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of things had closed down, shut down, weren't operating well. And that may have been the situation with the VA follow-up. But it sounds like you did finally, they put you in the system. You've been in the system ever since.
Right.
And as you said, you've been very happy with the VA
all
care.
All I need to do is tell them
follow-up.
that I need to see somebody, and they got me there within a couple of weeks.
And just out of curiosity, did you ever get classified as 100% disabled?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did. In 1994, I had a therapist there. They said, you should be 100%. And that's when they started the procedure for me. And in 94, they gave me 100%. And I've been 100% since.
Okay. But you told me you still have some residuals with pain and things from all those multiple wounds, right?
Right. I have a doctor's appointment to get some help from the VA, but they need some additional help from them. And there's having my wife and I see them the next month to get additional help from the VA,
Okay.
financial help for food and dinners and things like that. My wife has Parkinson's, so it's kind of difficult for us, and I'm 94 years old now, so soon to be 95, and it's a little difficult for us to get food and eat and stay where we are, but we can't go anywhere. Where would we go? Nobody has.
So you still live independently?
Still independently.
You and your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you live now here. How long have you lived in New Smyrna Beach,
Since
Florida?
'94.
Since 1994. And I want to ask you a question. You know, with the Purple Heart that you've earned, are you in the Purple Heart Honor Society? Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
Well, there is a Purple Heart Honor Society for people who are recipients of Purple Heart, and you and I are going to see that what we can do to make sure that you get your name put in the Purple Heart Honor Society.
That would be wonderful.
It's you know, with all the suffering and that you gave to this country, I think that's the least that you should. And Mr. Hubbard, I see our time is running out here. We're getting short on time, and we could go on here for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But we have some time limits that we have, sir. So I want to thank you for your service to this country, and your service far exceeds most people's service to this country. You know, you almost gave your life. You went through a tremendous amount of suffering. So thank you, sir, for your service, and thank you for coming by here today.
My pleasure. Still live in the best country in the world.
That's tremendous, sir. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.